Ever wish you could just hit the reset button? Like see the world from a totally different perspective. That's what we're diving into today, with a story about a knight, a curse, and a transformation that goes way deeper than just appearances. It's all from the Obscure Orbit episode, The Knight Who Turned Into a Frog.
Oh, I think I remember that one.
Yeah, so it's set back in, medieval times in this kingdom called Lyriel. And our main character, Sir Cedric, he's like the epitome of a knight, right? Brave, strong, all that good stuff.
Yeah, the classic hero. Except, well, we know he gets turned into a frog. So how does that happen? What sets this whole thing in motion?
Okay, so Sir Cedric's this celebrated hero.
Yeah.
And he ends up slaying this fearsome serpent that's been terrorizing the kingdom.
Sounds pretty standard so far.
Right. But here's the catch. This serpent, it wasn't just any serpent. It was like a beloved pet. And the owner, let's just say she is not happy.
Oh boy. I'm guessing we're talking about a sorceress here.
You got it. Morgana. And she's not one to mess with.
See, this is what always gets me about these stories. You'd think a powerful sorceress could come up with something a little more original than, oh, you killed my pet serpent. Guess you're a frog now.
Right. Like a lightning bolt, maybe, turned into stone.
Exactly. But no, it's always a frog.
Well, I mean, it's not always a frog. But there's definitely a pattern here, right? I mean, we've seen this kind of thing before. Someone angers a god or a powerful being and bam, curse. Midas, Arachne, even Sleeping Beauty in a way.
Yeah, it speaks to that deep-seated fear of consequences, Especially when you've acted out of pride or arrogance, like you've messed with forces beyond your control.
Which Sir Cedric, he's definitely about to learn all about. And it's not like Morgana just waves her hands and poof, instant frog. The story really goes into detail about this transformation.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's like his skin turns cold and slimy. His armor clatters to the ground because he can't, hold it up anymore. It's rough.
You can practically feel the shock, right? Like it really emphasizes that this is a huge deal for Sir Cedric, both physically and mentally.
Totally. It's like his whole world is being flipped upside down. And the worst part...
Let me guess, he's not one of those majestic, almost handsome frogs.
Nope. We're talking full-on, slimy, bug-eyed frog, the works. Yeah, not exactly the image of a noble knight anymore. And what really gets me is that Morgana, she makes sure he knows this isn't just a random punishment. She tells him straight up, you'll stay a frog until you learn humility and the value of those you scorned.
So it's like a magical life lesson.
Exactly. It's about so much more than just appearances. So last time, we left Sir Cedric in a, shall we say, compromising position.
Yeah, not exactly what you picture when you think knight in shining armor, huh?
Definitely not. This once revered hero is now, well, a frog.
And not just any frog. He's a frog in a world that doesn't exactly treat frogs with a whole lot of respect.
Exactly. Like imagine that for a second. You go from being at the top, respected, admired, to being something people barely even notice.
Or worse, they actively avoid you.
Right. Like, you, get that slimy thing away from me. It's got to be a huge blow to the ego.
Totally. It makes you think how much of our identity is tied up in how others see us. If you strip away all the titles and the accolades, what's left?
That's a good question. And it's something Sir Cedric's definitely grappling with. Plus, it's not just the lack of respect. Think about the practical challenges. Can't exactly swing a sword with those little froggy arms, can he?
Or, convince anyone to polish his armor.
Exactly. And good luck explaining your brilliant battle plans when all you can manage is a ribbit.
Right. It's like the story is highlighting how much we take communication for granted.
Totally. But what's interesting is that even though Sir Cedric can't talk in the traditional sense, we still have access to his thoughts.
Oh, you mean like we're inside his head?
Yeah, exactly. We see his frustration, his attempts to adjust, even his moments of, I guess, self-pity.
Which I think is important, right? Because it keeps him relatable. He's not just some cartoon frog. He's a complex character who's going through a really tough time.
Absolutely. And it's through these internal struggles that we start to see the curse having its intended effect. He's starting to understand what it means to be humble.
Well, being a frog will do that to you.
It seems that way. But it's not all doom and gloom for our froggy friend. While most of the castle is content to ignore Sir Cedric, or shoo him away, there's one character who sees him as more than just a pest.
Oh, who's that?
Her name is Edda, and she's a maid at the castle. And while everyone else is all like, a frog, Edda actually shows him kindness.
Interesting. So she's not put off by his, shall we say, outward appearance.
Not at all. She sees past the slimy exterior and senses that there's something special about him.
It's almost like she's seeing the real Sir Cedric, the one who got lost somewhere along the way.
Maybe that's the whole point. Like, sometimes it takes seeing ourselves through the eyes of someone who has no preconceived notions about us to really understand who we are.
I like that. So what role does Edda play in all of this?
Well, she becomes kind of like his confidant. You know, as much as a frog and a human can be confidants. And what's really cool is that Sir Cedric, even though he's a frog, he hasn't lost his intelligence or his resourcefulness. So we've got Sir Cedric stuck as a frog, but he's got this unlikely friendship with Edda. And it seems like he's finally starting to understand what this whole humility thing is about.
Right, he's learning that there's more to life than being a celebrated knight.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But let's not forget, there's still a kingdom in peril.
Oh yeah, those hostile neighbors, they haven't just vanished, have they?
Nope. In fact, they choose this exact moment when everyone's distracted by the whole knight turned into a frog situation to strike.
Classic villains, always going for the opportune moment. But how does this play into Sir Cedric's, amphibian adventure?
Well, as these things tend to go, it gets personal. The invading army, they storm the castle, and who do they capture?
Let me guess. The king.
Close. The princess. Princess Alara, to be exact.
Oh no, not the princess.
Yeah, it's a classic damsel in distress situation, but there's a twist. See, Princess Alara, she's not just any princess. She's known throughout the land for her, get this, kindness and compassion.
Really? Interesting. Sounds like someone else we know who's been showing those same qualities to a certain grumpy frog.
Right. It's like the story is drawing a parallel between Edda and Alara, showing that compassion can come from anywhere, any social standing.
Okay, I'm hooked. So what does Sir Cedric do? Does he just, like, ribbit sadly from the sidelines?
Oh, absolutely not. He might be a frog, but he's not about to let some princess get captured on his watch.
All right.
This is Sir Cedric we're talking about.
All right, so what does he do? He can't exactly challenge the entire army to a duel.
No, but he can use his new physique to his advantage. He becomes this tiny amphibious secret agent, sneaking through the castle, gathering information, overhearing the enemy's plans. He even discovers their hidden weakness, all thanks to those big old froggy ears.
Okay, I have to admit, that's kind of brilliant. He's like a little green ninja warrior.
Totally. And he's not done yet. He hatches this daring plan, uses his froggy agility to create a distraction, allowing Princess Alara to escape.
Wow, a frog leading a princess to safety? That's not something you see every day.
Right. Talk about a role reversal. But this isn't just about escaping, is it? It's about Sir Cedric finally putting all those lessons he's learned into action. He's not just trying to save himself anymore. He's fighting for something bigger than himself.
Doing it all as a frog. That's got to count for something, right?
It definitely does. In fact, as Sir Cedric and Princess Alara are making their escape, something pretty incredible happens.
Don't tell me. He turns back into a human.
He does. But it's not some random, oh, the curse is broken kind of thing. It happens as they reach the castle walls, bathed in the moonlight. It's this whole transformative moment. Like the story is saying, he's earned this.
Oh, I like that. He's proven that he's changed. That he's not the same arrogant knight who got himself into this mess in the first place.
Exactly. He's learned humility, the value of compassion, and maybe, just maybe, how to appreciate a good fly or two.
So, what's the takeaway here? Besides, don't mess with sorceresses and their pet serpents.
I think it's about perspective. Sir Cedric had to literally see the world from a different point of view to truly understand himself and the world around him. And sometimes, the things we might see as weaknesses, like being a frog, can actually become our greatest strengths.
It's a good reminder for us all, isn't it? To maybe look at things a little differently, be a little more open-minded. Who knows what kind of transformations we might find waiting for us.
Absolutely. Maybe we all have a little frog perspective we could benefit from. Well, that's it for this deep dive. We'll be back next time with another journey into the weird and wonderful world of Obscura Orbit. Until then, keep exploring.